Hello everyone and welcome back to the next lecture where I will be talking about the lighting template for the Lookdev environment. So what that means is we would need to have a specific setup for our Lookdev environment. So specific lights, maybe a studio light setup and all that. So in this lecture we will be talking or setting up all these things. So as of right now, we only have a gaffer with one single light dome in it. So we want to keep the gaffer for sure, but we will just want to organize our lights within the gaffer. We will talk a bit more in detail exactly what we can do within a gaffer. It's pretty versatile and lots of things to do in here. But before we get started, I just want to hit R to create a rig, which is just a kind of a group. And you can have different things within a rig, like different lights, different blockers and all that. So what I want to do is I just want to create a environment rig. And in this rig, we will have all the HDRs we need to have. So I just create that rig group, and I will be creating a HDRI sky dome light. And this is just our ENV or our dome light or whatever you want to call it. Within here we can specify the file name, so let me just click on here and hit browse, go to our main folder, and in the source I'll just be putting in a few HDRs now which we will be using. So let me just put them here and then we continue quickly. So I'll be just picking the garage neutral for now, which is the same one we had on the top there. So a good thing is to a good habit of doing, if it's a 4K map, make your resolution like the width as well, so 496, and your format is a lat long map, because that's what my input map is. It's a typical 2x1 HDRI. Right, and the color space is linear. It should be handled automatically by the read node or by the EXR node. So we have our main gaffer set up, because a Lookdev environment should be fairly simple. It shouldn't have strong area lights and all that, because they are misleading. Different scales of area lights have different impact on the surface roughness and all that. So it's a good thing to have is just a simple sky dome HDRI with small light sources too, or like with fairly reasonable sized light sources to always have a consistent reflection. What I'm talking about is the specular roughness scale. All right, so and then we want to be able to switch for different environments, right? So we want to test that same rig in different environments. So what we can do here is we can create a shot gaffer or just a gaffer override. So if I create another gaffer in here and I edit that and I click on that little cogwheel in the top right here, and I can go to display show incoming scene, and then I actually see what is coming in from the gaffer. And if I right click the dome now and hit edit, I can actually change the path from that gaffer light. So let's just choose this one here and just call this gaffer, let's just call this sun, and then we create another gaffer which is a studio one, like so. And the gaffer main, which is now all caps, is it's our main rig. Just for the clean wise sake or whatever, I'll just create another gaffer, and this is our let's just call this garage, which is our neutral one. So this one, if I edit this as well, the studio will be our studio HDRI, so let's just choose that one. And this one again should be the which one is actually in here? The sun. So let's just choose the garage again. All right. So we have garage, studio, and sun. Obviously, garage and the gaffer main is the same, but I just wanted to have three just that it's a bit clearer what's going on. So the idea is now to be able to switch these things out. So we want to have the garage on the left and the sun on the right. And each of these ones will be connected to the gaffer from the top again. So gaffer main goes in here, this one goes in there, this one goes in here. And now we want to have a switch at the bottom, and we will make this a lot nicer in a later section with with graph states, variables, and all that fancy stuff. But for now, this is what we have. And if I create my little dot nodes here, this is the, can I actually move it downwards? I can do that. And this one goes down here as well. And that one goes to the top. This one comes here, or we can actually put a dot right there, hook these up there, and then we have a nice layout like that. All right, so this is the switch, and if I edit the switch, you can see if I enable my dim nodes again, dim not contributing, you can see now we're on gaffer 1. Studio, and on 2 we are on the sun gaffer. So this is kind of the setup, and obviously as I said, we will work with this a bit more in detail, nicer setups, graph state variables, and all that fancy stuff. But we, as I said, in a later lecture. One thing what I wanted to do is, like, the camera right now is like I moved it and it's not really in the correct orientation. So what I want to do in the Lookdev, in the turntable controller where I create my camera, I just want to reset all these values to 0. And then all I want to do, I just want to go back in Z. So we have now, let's say, a value of 20. And I want to rotate it on X, I think. Let's just check in the perspective. Make the camera visible. So we definitely want to go in negative X like that, and we just want to move up the view maybe by 10 like that, maybe 5, and let's look through the camera again. So this is now my my layout, I would say. This is how it's presented. And we can change the field of view to maybe 55, just to be a bit closer. And this is now our main camera. And now what I want to do, I just want to disable make interactive, so I can not move it any longer. So I always have a consistent output, right? That's what we want, and we want to keep consistent. All right, so back to home. And if I render now from the bottom here, let's do a render. We are now on the sun rig. And right now all the rigs are visible to the camera, or they should be, if this contribution is on. So let's bring that back on. And now, because we changed our field of view, we would need to readjust our reference spheres. So let's just head back into our controller, go into our global translate, and change these values a bit. So maybe we just go maybe on 4. Okay, we need maybe 3.5. And you can see it's kind of nuisance, or it's kind of a hassle to move them when we don't expose all those values. So we will definitely work on this to make this a lot more accessible and just more user-friendly to work with. So now we have it placed in the top left corner. Right now we don't have a Macbeth shaders, but we will take care of that also in a later section or lecture. So let's just render this again. And now you can see, we see our sphere in the background. We have our little object in the center. We have got our gray sphere and our chrome ball. And now let's switch an environment. Let's go to environment 2, to the studio, control / to render, rename the switch to env switch, like that. And now you can see this is our studio lighting. And if I switch one more time to env switch 0, which is our first HDR, this is now how easy you can switch your environments. So let's see how that looks. This is now that. So you can see it's fairly straightforward to do the like a little setup for a lighting template. So obviously, as I said, we will be working on this to make this a lot more, like a lot smoother. We will hide all this in a group, I guess, and we will have a top level switch, which will be a variable which will be in here. And I think that will make everything a lot more easy to work with. We still have this. We can just keep this for now. What else can we talk about? So before we finish off this lecture, let's just fix up the Macbeth chart to, or just for now, let's just maybe hide it, as we don't want to see an empty Macbeth there. So I will be just, what if I don't create, oh, sorry, we're on materials right here. I want to be in the turntable controller right there. And before we go back out, I create a prune node. Prune is a delete node, which just deletes whatever location you pass to. So I just want to remove the chart section. And for now, we just have that pruned. Prune charts. And I have a habit of just having prune nodes as red, so it's clear what's going on. So we just have the spheres and our main asset in the middle. And let's just hit save. And this would be the lecture on how to create a quick lighting setup here. So I hope you enjoyed this lecture. It was fairly quick, fairly easy to do. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next one.